We're going to look at some of these videos here. I'm going to do some react to some of my older things. We're going to see if I'm still right. Am I still right, or am I completely wrong and I'm misleading 50,000 people? So here we go, guys. We got how to boost 2JZGE. First thing that pops up is my video, and I remember making this video, and we're going to see if everything still holds up to the current timeline. Let's go. Okay, so by the title, you guys already know what you're getting yourself into. This is a how-to video on how to boost a 2JZGE, non-VVTI, and VVTI. First off, before we get into this completely, I want to say that at the time of this video, this was way before COVID happened, so the prices of things have been extremely construed to the point that you're looking at not budget anything. Nothing in here is budget anymore. I'm talking like any of the blocks. Like, you're paying $1,500, $2,000 for a VVTI block at this time. Everybody thinks that they're gold. If you're getting in GE non-VVTI bottom end, it's a little bit more. So you're not going to be able to find anything actually that's real budget friendly anymore. But there's going to be some things that I will be discussing that you guys could potentially look into and hopefully have some better luck with than just going with an OEM style bottom end. It was very, very confusing. It's been a while, and I know you guys have been waiting for me to make this video, but trying to think about how to do it is very, very confusing. So what I did was I made a write-up on it. So I'm going to go through the whole write-up so we can get from point A. Pretty sure I made this write-up on the toilet. Backtracking and forgetting things. Before we get... Look at this engine bay. It's white. It has a 1JZ head. And it's somewhat clean and has gross stuff. It still has power steering. Started, I'd like to get a couple points out of the way, main things that you guys are going to want to do, and things I recommend. For either engine on this build, you're going to want to put ARP head studs in. You don't have to, but if you're going to boost it, you might as well pull the head off, and you might as well do the head gasket too. You'll want to get GT head gasket, set of ARP head studs, an OEM GTE multi-layer head gasket, there you go, and a brand new timing belt. You can get the timing belt that I have. It's always good to just replace your timing belt, guys. It's not worth the risk. It's stronger, but it's just user preference. I'm going to start with the VVTI because it's actually set up a lot easier because it has all the sensors and everything. Yep, all the sensors as on the one cam sensor. If you're here for the one sensor, just listen to the whole video because everything that I'm going to go over with the VVTI is actually going to... There's a lot of things that have been coming up with the non-VVTI head. There's cam sensors and stuff that you can get for them now where they mount on the front of the head and they use the actual cam gear as the magnetic point for it to receive signal to the ECU. So, yeah, there's not really that much of a difference here now, switching heads and everything. All the GE manifolds and everything are interchangeable between the heads, so you can have a turbo manifold that fits both heads, and there's an intake manifold that fits both heads. And then non-VVTI valve covers fit the GE non-VVTI head, same as the VVTI covers, fitting both VVTI heads. To be the same for the non-VVTI, minus a couple things here and there. I'm going to go over a basic list of things that you guys are going to need to make forced induction. I'll give you reasons to why you need these, followed by the rest of the parts to make power. Number one, you need to either build your bottom end... Would you show me some enthusiasm, young me? Early years bottom end. And this is because the bottom ends from the VVTI is actually very, very weak. They can only handle 400 horsepower, like 350 torque before you start bending rods. No, it's not bending rods, bro. You're snapping those rods and poking a hole in your block, and then you got to get a new block. Oil squirter. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, it's not worth boosting a GE or a VVTI bottom end. Don't do that. It's not worth it. And if you poke a hole in your block, if you're unlucky enough to be one of the few that have a rear sump pan and you poke a hole in that sump, you're gonna be spending a lot of money trying to get another one. If you're like where I'm at right now, where I have a front sump pan in like all of the cars except for the Supra, obviously, I have a front sump pan in the 240 and both my GS300s. If you poke a hole in those things are a dime a dozen. I've got 4 of them on the shelf. Yeah, it's not worth wasting a block because you want to make a little bit of power. You are already running on the line and risk of breaking it in stock form. And higher compression pistons. It's exactly what I've got in my car. It's a stock block from a GS300. That would be the best budget thing to do. The GS300 bottom end that was in the junkyard for many years, and my first oil change in it looked like a glitter bomb explosion that my daughter dropped on the floor. So, yeah. And then it lasted 2 years before it hucked a rod out the block at 800 horsepower in the burnout box. I don't really have any prices for you because prices can vary depending on where you get it from, whoever you get it from, junkyard, wherever you go to get it. Prices are going to vary a lot now. You're not going to find them in junkyards, period. And if you do, it's probably already freaking gone through. There's a hole in the block. This is one of the things I'm talking about, guys. Non-VVTI is always going to be the best budget thing that you can get if you already have it. And my point in this video is the fact that if you have a VVTI bottom end, you might as well just switch out and go non-VVTI because the bottom ends in the SE300s and everything were cheap at the time. Now, speaking, they're about $2,000, and same goes with the VVTI bottom ends. Everyone thinks that they're gold, and for those VVTI guys out there trying to do a build now, I do recommend not doing a non-VVTI bottom end at all. If you have it, send it. If you do not have it, do not spend the money to buy used rods and pistons from a GE or a GTE. Literally, go to Max Speeding Rods and get rods from them. Get the H-beam rods from Max Speeding Rods. They've been proven for over 1,000 wheel. They've also been proven to be the exact same rod that Manly H-beam has and that Eagle H-beam has. So they are the same thing. They have been proven, and they're about $600. It's not worth buying the used stuff that's going to break in unknown power because things are hit and miss now. If you're going to be doing this and you have a GE VVTI bottom end, just get yourself some forged rods from Max Speeding Rods. You're really at no loss. Number 2, you're going to need to ditch the stock fuel rail. If you do not ditch that stock fuel rail, it's not going to work because the stock fuel rail on the VVTI is a single-ended fuel rail, so it has no return. Fuel pressure regulator is either on the... for the single-ended fuel rail where there is no return, it's just a one-sided thing. I have seen people actually use this, although I'm not really a big fan of it. I do recommend just doing a proper fuel system if you're going to do this. Do not do things half-assed. I swear to God, don't do things half-assed. The fuel pump setup, or it is right before the fuel rail. If you do end up boosting and you put a bigger fuel pump in your car, you will blow something up, you will blow out the fuel rail, or you will destroy the fuel pressure regulator. Okay, I shut up, me! You ain't gonna blow out the fuel rail, you're stupid. Later, and then it just won't work at all, or you will have way too much fuel pressure. That is just not set up for forced induction or a fuel pump rated for more than what's stock. You're just going to want to ditch that stock fuel rail. What the hell happened to the camera angle? To my knowledge, Radium is the only company that makes a fuel rail for the stock runner on the VVTI engines. You can pick one up for about $200. I think that's still correct. I'm pretty sure Radium is still the only company that makes a fuel rail for this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right. That's right. $30. I've got a dual feed, one return out. It's been working fantastic. So I recommend that. Number 3, I do recommend you delete the crossover pipe, so going with a sheet metal. I definitely do recommend this also still. Stop boosting your car with the crossover pipe. I know a lot of people want to do boosted applications and stuff, but for God's sake, you're literally just heat soaking that side of the pipe. Like, if you have proper IATs, man, oh my goodness, and it looks terrible. Like, I get that you want to do boosted stuff, but like, just spend another $600 and get yourself an intake. Just do it, man. Just do it. It's going to operate way better. Metal intake. Cheap metal intakes, very cheap. You can find them for about $120, $130, $140, something like that. They bolt right to the stock intake runner. The reason to get rid of the crossover pipe is obviously it looks ugly, and for... Okay, and the intake apparently I'm talking about in here is really crappy one that bolts to the stock runners. Don't do that. Don't do that. Shut up, me. What the hell's wrong with you? For performance reasons, the crossover pipe sits too close to the hot side on your turbo. That results in higher intake air temps. You will make less power. Along with the sheet metal intake, you're going to have to get a 90mm throttle body or throttle bodies that'll fit, 3-inch coupler. Going anything smaller than 3 inches is just kind of ridiculous on a JZ. You'll start choking things. Just want to get that airflow going pretty good. I got a 3-inch pipe. My excuse is that it will start choking things. The real reason I said that is because it looks better in 3-inch. Pipes all over. Everything is 3-inch except for the turbo outlet. That's 2.5-inch. You can skip this if you want to. You don't exactly have to do this. You can do it later. Just whatever your preference is. Number 4. Would you smile or something? Kit, CX Racing. Make sure it's chassis specific. I'm still running a CX core. It's been fantastic. Obviously, you guys have seen what it's capable of. CX is very good at making things that's very unordinary. So, if you guys have... Okay, I'm talking about chassis specific. And one of the things that I've come across with the many different cars that I've built is that some of the manifolds are designed to be mounted in a way that will avoid the engine mount on some cars. Some of the engine mounts on the JZ, there's multiple points of mounting for them because some of the cars mount in different places. So if you have a manifold that's not designed for where the location of the engine mount is, you'll end up running into that, and I did encounter that issue with Lane Supra whenever I was putting a manifold on his car. The Lexus cars, most of the newer ones, they all have a front sump pan location. So because of the front sump pan, the engine mount is a little bit different. With Lane Supra, the engine mounts are located in a way that doesn't interfere with the rear sump pan. So if there's a rear sump pan, the mounts are in a different place and the manifold has to be made different. Unless you guys are running like a solid chromoly mount where it's just one solid little tube, then you're not going to have an issue. But if you're running the stock mounts that are nice and fat and they're just great big giant square chunks hanging off the side of your engine, it's going to run into the manifold, and that was one of the issues that we had, and I had to get him a new manifold. Have some kind of different build that you guys need some parts for, you guys can email CX Racing and they might make something new for you with add an extra cost. Might. An intercooler kit can run you about $450 to $550. That's just depending on what your setup. Number 5, you'll need a turbo manifold. Again, it's going to be chassis specific. CX Racing. Alibaba. They got some cheap manifolds over there and they're pretty good quality. Also, we're going to start talking about intercoolers and wastegates and turbos and Pulsar. Everything Pulsar, guys. Do not listen to anything I say in this video about anything else. Pulsar intercoolers, Pulsar turbos, Pulsar wastegates. Get them all from Pulsar. And if you guys need a plug for that, Dean Moslow on Facebook, you guys can hit him up. He is the best guy, and I recommend for Pulsar everything. Extremely fast. I'm talking like you're going to have your stuff in like 3 days, okay? He's extremely fast, extremely reliable, and I've probably sold hundreds of stuff through him. Definitely go hit him up. I will link him in the description of this video if you guys are watching. What I'm running right now, make sure you're not getting a manifold for a 240 and you're trying to put it in like an RX-7 because it's probably not going to work unless you're in. It's going to still work. The RX-7 engine bays are pretty damn big. It's still going to work, okay. It's not no probably. It will work. Engine bay is extremely big, then don't worry about it. You can pick one of these up for about $550. That's what I paid for mine. If you get a manifold that's meant for a Miata, if it's meant for a Miata, is it going to fit in a Charger? Probably, because you can put a whole Miata in the engine bay of a Charger. It's been fantastic. Number 6, you're going to have to get an oil filter sandwich plate, and that replaces the stock oil cooler. This plate has oil ports on it that you can put fittings in, and you can put oil pressure sensors. God damn, got cicadas. And I actually have my VVTI solenoid is going to it because the non-VVTI bottom ends do not have ports for the VVTI. This is also false. So you guys see there is there's these things on the side of the blocks called oil pressure sensors, and there's literally a port for the oil pressure sensor on the side of any of the blocks that have oil, so you can run a VVTI to the side of the block. Now, the actual stock line from the VVTI engines, the metal, the hard line that goes to the VVTI, will probably not work, so you will still have to use like an aftermarket line set up, like a braided line or something, to make it work. But there is literally a port on the side of the block for this. Now for the go fast parts, this is where things can get kind of expensive. Pulsar. But I'm going to give you the best budget options. Pulsar. I'm going to say VS Racing, aren't I? Things used. If you guys have patience, ask around the groups. I'm going to say it. You might be lucky and find some things that are, I swear to God, if you say VS Racing. For a turbo, I recommend VS Racing. You piece of shit. You piece of shit. Doing really, really good. Their cars have been in 4s. In the 8th, they have been 7s, and then the quarter, I believe they might have been 6s, but they've been fantastic. Very, very cheap turbos, but they're very, very good. They're made. Most of them are made in house. Obviously, I'm not going to give you prices. You guys they are not made in house. I am a liar. $1,000, and they're pretty decent. I'll leave a link in the description of where to go for that. And you guys can check it out if you want to. No, you won't. This actually goes for the wastegate as well. You probably did, didn't you? Stop it! They got most things there. Stop it! Pulsar! Blow-off valves too. And yeah, I just bought Pulsar a bunch of stuff for the Supra. never had detonation on my car, regardless of my timing and my boost pressures. If you're going to run 91, you're going to make sure that you got to have conservative timing, and you're not going to be able to run.
He's right, guys.
Because you'll have detonation, and you'll end up exploding or blowing something up, and you're not going to want to do that. For an ECU, of course, I'm going to recommend ECU Master.
Oh, I still stand by this. Oh, support sucks, but hey, those products, they're really user-friendly.
Fantastic. Supports like everything. I've got AM Smart Coils, supports it. I've got FIC 2150s, supports them.
Those aren't even real FIC
Like
2150s.
I've actually just turned it up.
I got
I'm
scammed.
on 35 pounds boost right now. I got to get back on the dyno, but it's supporting everything and it's having no problems whatsoever.
I never got back on the dyno.
Very capable, and I 100% recommend it. You can pick one up for about $8.99. You can probably get one used for $6.50. I paid $6.50.
Little known fact, guys, when I got on the dyno before, I made 500 horsepower at 17 pounds of boost, and then I still made 500 horsepower at 34 pounds of boost. It's an inside joke. I had some haters.
For mine. So have to get a wiring specialties harness or something that's custom for the ECU, or you can get a jumper harness made. ECU Master might have something made for the VVTI. Last time
they now officially have everything made for jumper harnesses. Shut up, phone. They have everything made for jumper harnesses officially. You guys can get anything that you want. Evos, ARC-7s, anything. They have them all.
I knew that they didn't, but they had something in the works. So if you're lucky, you can get something like that. They're like $250 to get one. Obviously, a harness is going to be a lot more. I built my harness, but it was OEM, but I deleted a lot of stuff and added a lot of stuff. So
God dang, I'm still running that harness too. I am redoing the harness on the 240.
You'll be good to go. A couple other things. You're going to need to drill and tap your pan because the non-turbo engines obviously do not have a return line for the turbo.
It's the sump. It's the sump. There's literally a port that's stamped where you can like see where they would have had drilled it for the return line on the turbo. You don't have to drill and tap it. If you have welding skills, you can put a 10AN fitting on there and weld it, and you'll be freaking solid, good to go.
Turbo, so you have to drill and tap it. Very, very simple. All you need now are new gaskets, belts, and supporting mods such as fuel pumps, fuel pressure regulators, and gauges.
You're right.
Do not forget to install a wideband sensor. You always want to be able to see what your air-fuel ratio is.
You're still right.
So you're not...
I'm still right, but you don't need gauges. I am running a wideband to my ECU. I have no gauges in the Supra at all. Everything's Bluetooth to my phone, so I can see everything whenever I am driving through my phone.
Driving around lean and blowing something up is just not worth it. Okay, so that's basically going to be it for the VVTI engines. Very simple, and it's only because of the sensors that are available. The cam sensors and the crank sensor. For the non-VVTI, now this is why it was really confusing and I had to write this all out, is because the non-VVTI is one of those things where there's a lot of stuff you have to modify in order to be clean and nice. You're basically ready to be boosted because you have the superior bottom end. Like I said before, it is basically the same.
I'm right. You do have the superior bottom end, but at this point, the price points are not worth trying to switch it if you have a VVTI bottom end. You might as well just get the max speeding rods, put some GT or GE pistons on there, or get some forged for pistons or something. You spend $1,000, get yourself a forged bottom end, and you'll be freaking good to go. The other thing, the distributor has a block-off plate. Most of the time, people run the distributor as a actual source for a signal of the crank and the cams. Now there is everything. Back at the time, they still had block-off plates for this, but I still didn't believe in switching the non-VVTI GE heads to a functional working head. But at this point, you can have cam sensors and everything. They have cam sensors made for the GE non-VVTI heads. You can have it ported in the back to have a cam sensor properly installed, and they also have the ones for the cam gears. And I actually am currently in the moment thinking and debating on switching to a GE non-VVTI head just to do testing and to show everybody that it is possible and does work very well.
As the 2JZ GTE bottom ends, same rods, pistons are high compression, and there are no oil squirters.
Don't need oil squirters.
You can make all the power you want on it. I promise you will, as long as you're not stupid with it.
I promise.
Stock non-VVTI GE oil pumps, OEM. If you still have the original one, they do not have a crank sensor port on them, so you're gonna have to get a...
This is still correct. The factory non-VVTI GE, the original ones, they do not have crank sensor ports on them because this was obviously before VVTI was dropping crank sensors. The GTE had them. The GTE pumps were designed to create a lot more oil pressure because of the actual oil squirters and the more places for oil to go. So they did not install those on the non-VVTI GE bottom ends. They designed them with a little bit less modification to function for a non-turbo engine.
New one that supports the crank sensor. You're going to want to get a new oil pump to support a crank sensor unless you plan on staying distributor. If you do not stay distributor, you're going to have to modify your head in order to get cam sensors.
Oh my god, I said it.
Write-ups on Google for it. I've never done it, but you guys are more than happy to go check them out. Once you get the cam sensor set up, then you're basically...
There's lots of options, guys. Lots of options
My
now.
advice to you, the non-VVTI guys, I would actually advise you guys to swap the heads. The VVTI GE heads are very good. They've actually been proven to flow the best. My advice to you would be to swap that head onto your bottom end, and everything in the first half of this video applies to you from there on. Other than that, that is basically it. The last thing, the non-VVTI bottom ends, as I said earlier, do not have a VVTI port. So the way that you would counter that is with the Mishimoto.
Is this it? What else are you gonna say, me?
Whatever sandwich plate you're gonna use, there's a port on it, and yeah, I used a 6AN line with two 6AN fittings, of course.
Hurry up, me! Get through it!
That is basically it. That's how you get yourself a boosted engine for budget. It's easy, right? You just gotta get out there and do it. Throw some money.
Oh my god, I finally smiled.
Ask people for things. You guys want to save money? Make sure
I'm probably gonna remake this video, if I'm being honest.
But yeah, guys, that's all I got for you. I knew this one was a little weird since I had to go through my write-up on this, but it's a lot.
After I sat on the toilet.
It's very, very confusing, especially coming into the non-VVTI engines because of their distributor. If this video helped you guys and you guys liked it, hit the like button.
Yeah, hit the like button. Make sure you guys hit the like button.
New. Stick around, watch some stuff. I got a couple of videos planned, and Nathan, if you're watching this, we're starting the series. Everybody's gonna like it.
Oh yeah, Nathan. I have no idea what the series was even gonna be.
So hurry up and upload your video so we can get going.
Insane. Alright, guys. So here is my reaction to one of my older videos that I am somewhat right and somewhat wrong, but things have changed, so obviously information will change as well. Let's do a little quick recap, fellas. If you've got a VVTI bottom end, just get some max speeding rods and some forged piston or something to mount to them. You're not going to be winning at all just buying some used set of rods that you have no idea about that could possibly break within 100 miles. But other than that, seems like I'm still somewhat properly 85% correct in this video. And yeah, we're going to be doing some reviewing, or I'm going to review some of my older videos and react to them as well. I've got some pretty cringe videos that I hate a lot, but I leave them up because people like them for some reason. But yeah, guys, that is going to be it for this video. Hope you guys like it, and make sure you guys stick around, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys later.